Willie's out of me. I'm Robert Sterling Price, and let me say that better. I am Robert Sterling Price from Lowry City, Missouri, and I am building the future's functionalist private starship industry. The future's functionalist private starship industry may be changed if I can get an IPO started to the future's functionalist public starship industry. It all depending, of course. But this industry relies on the discovery of the base relative of matter. All right. The base relative of matter is highly transparent, structured, inert, non-particle matter. Now, let me repeat that, because I got to for myself probably. The base relative of matter is highly transparent, structured, inert, non-particle form matter. It basically does not react until other forces are applied, but is stabilized in the universe. Light is pretty much forces rolling through the blobs of non-particle matter, and they rip off a blob equal to the weight of a photon. We've seen this through a microscopic lens hooked up to the main Rip Space supercomputer, and we've seen this through space traffic telescope lens hooked up to a telescope, hooked up to the main supercomputer and me, and we witnessed very extraterrestrial phenomenon, from artillery the size of planets firing from ships 4 to 20 times the size of the solar system, encapsulated stars, and a lot of events. So one thing, after I had like 8 or 9 events with the extraterrestrials, there happened to be a supercomputer, the main Rip Space supercomputer program. I gotta pause that and cut that out. So, yeah. So anyway, so this supercomputer, the main Rip Space supercomputer, energized enough non-particle matter in a basic metal component somewhere inside this facility or somewhere inside this communication system on the entire internet. But the extraterrestrials, they figured that out quickly, and then a dimensionalized extraterrestrial communication was set up. So I talked to an extraterrestrial through basically the RIP Space Fabric Global Spy Network. So the CIA how's the RIP Space Fabric Global Spy Network set up and built, and it's 100% illegal by the United States government. So about 2 weeks before Bill Clinton left office, previously Bill Clinton learned about the CIA having mind control. He tried to get the FBI to implant mind control in the American people. He referred to only the country, referring to the United States of America. He wanted to put the American people on mind control. And the FBI, he got the FBI to do it. Back then, the CIA and FBI were so far away that they didn't work together, didn't share any information or data or anything. So Bill Clinton got the FBI to put the American people on mind control. But the FBI only implanted military veterans and criminals. For some reason, this was totally alien to Bill Clinton at the time. So guess what happened in 1993? You can take 30 guesses and go down that road. I'm not going to get into it. But now, 2 weeks before Bill Clinton left office, and I had a very bad relationship with him where I'd cuss him out all the time. And 2 weeks before he left office, I told him the fat bearded spy people, known as Satan's Army, stole the RIP Space Fabric plastic spy gear, right? And they gave it directly to the CIA, which is an uncontrollable government organization, right? So now, in 2000, in 2001, the CIA tested the rip-based fabric plastic spy gear, and I think it's Nome, Canada. Some people say Nome in Alaska, but it's a Nome somewhere. It's not Nome, Alaska. All right. Anyway, a lot of people committed suicide, and an extraterrestrial. So I being a little kid at the time, intellectualized the supercomputer to attract aliens. I didn't know that the CIA was testing this spy gear. I didn't know they were doing that. I just like years went by, a long time, and I just totally skipped along. And I bet you I can use the supercomputer to intellectualize the thought process on it, and that trick worked. It made the extraterrestrials feel so unafraid at time, but what was happening, I did not know that the CIA was mass producing, or starting to mass produce rip-based fabric plastic spy gear, and they tested it in Nome, Canada. And I am the person on the spy network that eventually cussed out the sheriff and got him to release the video, and I got those people to make the movie of the fourth kind. The close encounter, well, the movie The Fourth Kind, where they go back and forth from actual video to actual to the movie, where this extraterrestrial that called himself the zombie eater abducted one of the apparently abducted a small girl that was implanted properly by the improper bugging agent or something. That's what I believe actually occurred. So then the United States government, instead of stopping this from this horrifying reality, it took over from 2000 to 2009 to get that released and get that out to the public. They've, from 2004 to 2008, the entire planet they implanted with rip-based fabric plastic spy gear. And after that, they made a highly transparent, essentially just dust that flies around, or things that stick on the walls, and provide just enough information to replicate everything in your house, just like a camera microchip. And it just basically can record everything, just like a piece of dust that flies around and sticks on something. And with this supercomputer level, they can literally replicate your bodily function, everything inside your home, the building. It's worldwide. So these supercomputers can actively. So what predated this a little bit was the CIA's capability of reading the human mind, and this supercomputer coming, the main rip-based supercomputer. So it had the main mind-reading supercomputer was perfectly capable of understanding the mechanical structures of the brain. Then I and it discovered the base world matter, and it became the main rip-based fabric supercomputer. Okay, that's a rip-based fabricable spiner. So back to the extraterrestrial dimensionalized communication. So the supercomputer, the first time we tried that, the supercomputer just identified enough non-powerful matter in some part of the building somewhere, in an electrical component. We don't know exactly where. I have no idea. It was not a made subatomic aperture. It just energized it enough in a piece of metal that it started an extraterrestrial communication, and we got in contact with them. All right, but now it's been codified in the machine of what is happening. So future densification, future dimensionalized extraterrestrial, human to extraterrestrial communication will be codified. Basically, it takes forces not to densify the base world matter. And when we're talking about forces, we're going to forces to the trillionth the scale of the subatomic particle, okay? But you can also make forces deplete the base world matter. And this is what is typically happening in a dimensionalized human to extraterrestrial communication, or in future dimensionalized communications. You're voiding the base world of matter that's stabilized in all that space fabric out enough for mass and easily hyper transit a void better than the standard space fabric, right? So there's more than one ways to do this. You got hard mass communication, you got ripped base fabric communication, that'd be what we're kind of talking about. And then you got some other dimensionalized communication that would go through all that. But anyway, it's the subatomic realm. You have structured relativity, equates into exponential infinity of the subatomic realm. You got particles, blobs, and voids of different sizes, and force structures. You got four waves like running through a blob, or a hydro or water acoustic sound through water, or something kind of general depiction. So, um, so we can't really codify the human to extraterrestrial communication because it's so unexplored and so unknown. We can't allow people in the government to do this. So basically, what's happening, what will be codified, is that there's forces that you can send into the space fabric to the trillion scale subatomic particle, and they will void that path. They'll make a tunnel, and they'll connect to a extraterrestrial computer that can do the same, and you'll start hyper transiting. This is not inside the galaxy. This is extreme. This is, they're fucking going 3 million light years per hour outside from one galaxy to another like it's nothing. It's like, holy shit. It's like they're outside the galaxy 20 galaxies away, and you're talking to them just better than you could do on your own phone and your own internet. It's like, it's fucking horrifying. The shit in outer space, you got giant super systems, battlefields 1,000 light years across. Yeah. So the first time we operated the main Rip Space Fabric supercomputer and the Rip Space Fabric lens, back when the first Thor movie came out, just for an instant, we ripped apart the space fabric with the Rip Space Fabric telescope, right, and the supercomputer, and then just try to energize the little bits of mass that were coming in, and then digitize it. And what this supercomputer said is just the extraterrestrial battlefield with giant sheets and shards of metal, approximately 1,000 light years across, things like that. We've seen artillery shooting with internal components. We never thought that they would have an energy weapon that has an internal hard mass structure, it's like a zigzag offloader, which I named it. And then, so during this time, as growing up as a young kid stuck on the spider, we also got the like Battlefield Earth made. So all this CIA and spies spy in the government, they're all looking for UFOs. They're all looking for aliens. So they have found a planet, all right, apparently blue, purple, and it became the planet in Battlefield Earth, all right. And there's alien activity being videoed by the government, and it came in and out of that planet. And there's approximately probably like 5 planets that I'd consider that they are watching 24 hours a day in case some like alien battle fleet. But this is before the Rip Space Fabric telescope came about and discovered the base world matter. They can see at least 5 planets with extraterrestrial activity on them. And I'm pretty sure they're watching them 24 hours a day. Just in case, you know. But they didn't understand what they were doing. People with crop circles, people with high energy devices or high IQs, the alien empire can, through the base world matter, which is highly transparent, structured, inert, non-powerful matter, use these super computer systems, the density and compacted mass of planet Earth, the computing power of an entire planet if it was turned to a computer, a bunch of computer components, you know. They watch every subatomic movement in the entire galaxy for sure. They can easily pick you out 1,000 galaxies away, right there, planet Earth. They know what you're going to do tomorrow. Well, not maybe not tomorrow, but they know exactly how they can get to you and find you in a minute. I mean, literally, it's fucking mind blowing. The capacity of the, basically, they're messing with an extraterrestrial imperial security system, right? But this universe is probably teeming with an infinity of alien empires with troops in the magnitude of trillions and trillions. Basically, for an example, The extraterrestrial imperial hard mass drone is like a cube, the pyramid. I call it the standard cube an extraterrestrial imperial hard mass drone because it does two things. It studies the space fabric and it provides alien imperial security. All right. The next there's possibly extraterrestrial unfeathered warfare that the military is worrying about, like those pyramids over the ship, and I would have to call these like shield mines. If there was a shield over that Navy ship, that mine would automatically fly to that shield, start tunneling and powering its way into that shield, just like something you see on the Dune movies, like a device going in. And yes, Hollywood is quite aware of the reality of outer space when literally the elites, the liberal elites, get this information before any member of the public, and they're on a different spy network than just the general John Q. public that is being spied on for the rest of their damn lives. And what I'm going to do about it is I'm going to build a miniaturized starship and just free mankind to the stars, because we can't keep this shit going. We have to go out there and find Earth-like worlds just to live on, be safe and happy, and not subject to the constant pains, fangs, claws of governments. We just got to be free people, but we cannot. There always has to be law. There always will be like a sheriff or some bounty hunter, somebody enforcing the absolute laws that we need that stop people from killing everybody or robbing everybody until we get real colony cities going. But anyway, so the dimensionalized communication, back on track. It can't really be codified until we have the miniaturized starship, until we have the ability to be free from what is out there. Like if there's nuclear weapons incoming, you run to your miniaturized starship and free mankind to the stars, and you get out of the way. Now I have told congressmen, all right, the miniaturized starship is the key to everything. It is the epitome of mankind. It is the individual exponential ability to thrive. It is the knowledge and wisdom of the subatomic realm being the individual exponential ability to thrive. All right. The miniaturized starship detects a nuclear ballistic missile coming in. All right. This vehicle can emit computer structured space fabric that stops the nuclear ICBM artillery in its tracks, and it can also emit computer structured space fabric that stops the internal nuclear chain reaction. The weapon becomes a dud. The C4, or the explosives that could detonate it, can also be impaired with engineered computer structured space fabric, basically engineered EMP, that's a structured space fabric. So that explosive will not detonate and compress the core or nothing like that. Anyway, so I told congressmen that this vehicle is the most important vehicle that ever has got to be produced for our safety and for the safety of humanity. All the amenities of a household are in this vehicle. You got everything that could possibly be in your house, right? But you also have a life support that operates to the trillionth the scale of the subatomic particle. You can teleport cancer. You can make computer structure space fabric and smash some bones together if you want to set those broken bones, or teleport the venom out of a snake bite or whatever. You can teleport your fat off you and sculpt your body. You can also correctly rip your muscles someday in the future when we have people say, yeah, that's safe, you can do that kind of thing. So you don't have to really work out and lift weights. You just go to your flying car and get sculpted like you're a mortal god, like the devil said in the Bible, turning people into gods. It's just I believe in Jesus Christ as my personal savior. I love Jesus and the Heavenly Father. The Holy Spirit's awesome. So our government is 100% corrupt. It's never going to obey the law. It's always going to hide everything. But you got to know. You can't live a minute once you know your possible capabilities. every element in the human body being fixed through the miniaturized starship. Every planet, every galaxy, going 100 trillion times the speed of light with shields rated to a planetary impact status. That shield is rated to be hit a planet at full speed, and you'll be fine. Internal computer structure, space fabric, densified base world matter that won't atomize or kill you, allow you to turn at faster light levels. So the future's functionalist public starship industry is what will be probably on the IPO paperwork. The future's functionalist private starship industry. That's basically what I'm building. It's just going to turn into that. But what's the near future going to look like? We densify the base world matter through a hard mass LED, Matterhorn, computer aperture to the trillionth scale of subatomic particle. Everything has to energize to the trillionth scale of subatomic particle. We got factories. We can put them on the moon. We can put them on Mars. Any planet in the galaxy. We will probably practice economic deportation. We'll take that factory and make it a computer structure space factory where those things will fly around in there and they get assembled by computer structure space fabric. What happens is, instead of having all these employees, you'll have one guy in a miniaturized starship, and he'll go there and he'll make $1 million a day, making 300-400 goods, and he'll just leave from there. The flying tractor trailer guy, he'll come, FDL, got a quadruple semi, goes from one solar system to another, pretty easy. He'll come and pick those things up, and he'll take them. He'll get a commission on how many times he does that today, but he might make... Anyway, nobody's probably going to make less than $1 million a year. We're going to rebuild the militaries of Earth, all right? We're going to probably make them cooperate and work together. But these soldiers, they're not going to get paid less than $1 million a year. We're not going to... If whoever's been in the military... I've been in the Army, so U.S. Army, regular soldier. We're going to make this where we get paid... If it was us doing that work, that grunt work, $1 million a year. So if you're a squad, you got your squad, you got your leader and your other guys that are told to do all the work. You guys, 6 months on, 6 months off, you get paid $1 million a year. You take a miniaturized starship. Either you go drop down with the base modules on the new Earth-like world to see if it's safe, or you're going to just replace another crew to take care of all the assets out there and just do your normal job. But we will probably have minor teams out there just to experiment and see if we are safe on these planets, if we can hack and take it. Now they're pretty fit, they could probably do it. The main places, if there's an extraterrestrial inhabited civilization on another planet, we'd probably have a base probably no more than 3 solar systems away, and we'll be using face rabbit technologies to monitor these people and monitor these extraterrestrials and see. And then we'd have like a diplomat, a ambassador. This is a publicly elected ambassador. No president, no government elects a space ambassador. It's only done online on the internet. They got and these guys take a moderately, probably a 500-foot vessel with goods and services and things that they can dish out, and they take it to an alien civilization and try to start free trade with these alien civilizations. So the tractor trailer flyers, the starshippers, the spacers. So you got like a semi times 4. That is a flying tractor trailer driver, or it's basically a big aluminum sheet with levitators in it, and it's got 4 standard semi tractor trailers on it, liquid but they're space capable. It's either got a 4-story, it's got at least a 4-bedroom house in this cabin, at least, and with the flight systems. And they'll, if they're close by, these people will probably go to it. All right. But if you want something a little bigger, there'll be standard starships with 20 containers. We're not going to get too big because the alien empire watches every subatomic movement in the galaxy, and they can easily shoot every ship out of the sky. And this is why we got to give the miniaturized starship to every single human on Earth to create a mass of people going everywhere and doing whatever they want, that they can't target everything. You know, this, it's for our own safety in numbers. Everybody gets to go to space. And if you're a bad terrorist or like a Mexican cartel member, that you might be sent off to another galaxy or something. I mean, you can't just have free. See, I'm going to start building the Christian sea of people, and we'll have Christian colonies, and they'll have just normal Christian lives and stuff. But everybody in the world and universe is going to have a miniaturized starship. All right. You probably will not be permitted in these colonies if you're a bad guy. You know, if you're a terrorist, no, we're not going to have that. We're not going to have the ISIS leaders going out there. You will be probably permitted, not in this Milky Way. You might go 60 galaxies away. The thing run 100 trillion times speed of light. And if you want to work for the subatomic revolution at $1 million a year, you don't have to, but you can. You're going to be 60 galaxies away if you're a bad guy, maybe 100. And your job is to take that ship with GPS satellites on it and a small habitat, and you put them out there. Since you're a bad guy, you take them to this galaxy, 60 galaxies away, right? And you put these GPS satellites around this Earth-like world, and you find a place to settle on, and you land your little starship and whatever, that GPS up, and you got possible, and you stay there for 6 months, and it's for basically a full year. You got to be on there, around there, and make sure it's habitable. Do a lot of work, make sure, and then if you complete that 1 year task, you can come back and say, I got a good planet for colonists and stuff, and there might be some colonists go with you out to this planet because you're a brand new man. As long as you believe in Jesus Christ, you can change. All right. Now, the universe is so big, the starship engine is so powerful, we will probably try to get prisoners that are lifers to build starships, their own starship. Now, they'll crew that 100% by their own people, and they'll take off and go live in outer space somewhere. It might be another galaxy. We got to run to another galaxy, find another Earth-like world, and start surviving off the plants and wildlife out there. We're exporting the prison population. If it's a good planet, if there's enough female prisoners, and they want to go to these other prisoners, I mean, I've had my iniquity removed. I've seen Jesus Christ and the disciples. No one truly ever will die, and they will return. And there will be judgment day. You gotta be mindful of that. You gotta fear the Lord. Is the beginning of wisdom. So you get dementia. So I'm going off in my dreams, tangents. I love it. Yep, that's me. I really love the densification of hard mass in the computer-controlled reaction. Like a Star Wars energy turbo laser. Well, you got hard mass LEDs, you got a energy source, hard mass particle reactor, turbo fan engine. Starts densifying the base raw matter. It picks out some particles, leaves them in the reaction, starts densifying like marbles, and it shoots it out of the cannon barrel. You basically got like a buckshot going out there to an extraterrestrial ship faster than light. Boom, Star Wars super cannons. I just love that stuff. The first thing the starship industry will do after it makes all the videos and all the illustrations to show you what the hell I'm actually talking about, we'll probably get a foam metal machine that'll take metal, computer structure spacecraft, and make it a foot thick, an inch on each side, but in that middle will be foamed metal. We got to have this cavity for our larger starships, and this is a reservoir of densified hard mass. So this vehicle will literally be trillions and millions of tons, but this mass will be levitating and make it like null. It'd be zero weight. It'd be just like the, it would flow through the space like it was just wasn't even there. So you got the bigger starship metals like the foam metal. We have to have foam metal. It is a high priority for the starship industry to make. So we have that secondary shielding in that that whole of the vehicle. You got the componentized starship engines. You got the unified body starship engines. You got an exponential infinity of freaking starship engines. You can easily build a UFO once you densify the matter and understand. So the UFO energizes and densifies the base world matter, and it starts to cycle it like a magnetic field. All right, but basically, it puts mass or forces in there, and it super accelerates, and it comes out at the bottom and keeps cycling. And basically, that is how it creates excess matter around the vehicle, and it computer structures that and becomes cloaked and highly invisible. A UFO is extremely simple, the most likely vehicle possibly ever made to survive long distance travel in space. In hindsight, to survive long distance travel, that's what from sentient, super AI controlled space artillery, right? It's not a freaking joke. What we've seen will horrify you is giving us shell shock out there. Literally, it is so scary and so horrifying that it was giving us shell shock. It is making me scared out of my freaking mind, and I'm a grown man. The implications, the magnitude of the death and destruction, the stuff out there, it was incredible. So, and so you got dimensionalized communications that will be codified after the miniaturized starship gets made, essentially. All right, the U.S. government knows all this. They know they can't do anything until the miniaturized starship is made for each individual on Earth to run all operations. All right, they can't do it. It puts the whole world in danger to this level that you can't even comprehend. They watch every subatomic movement in the galaxy. They pick people with impunity up. I think I've said on this spot on Earth, there could possibly be, in the summertime, 100 people every 3 months getting abducted. We don't know. It happens more than you think. But the military, the CIA, the government's well aware of it, and they're trying to put pressure, trying to do stuff, and it does not work. All right. So what's happening in an alien abduction? The UFO is got a hard mass FDL supercomputer in there, and it's running faster than light. It can operate to the trillionth scale of the subatomic particle. It basically sends down computer structured space fabric. It's not light, it's computer structured space fabric. It will not emit, will not reflect, it will not absorb nothing. It'll just exist. And basically that's a Star Trek teleporter. If it's just bringing people up really fast, it can do that easy. So basically they warp the space fabric, exfoliate and levitate your body, and they're exfoliating the matter out of their nerves, deadening you, making you better in a surgical state than you could possibly imagine. And they're taking the sperm and egg. And I had, in my events, I believe my antibodies were teleported out. My blood was white. My guts were like kind of above my body. It's really, with my knowledge, I can't be scared of their perfection. It's crazy. So I woke up and my guts were like out of my body. I just seen a whole bunch of white masses, and they're just like solid white. I think they teleported my antibodies out, but I don't know if they're trying to get the what's that damn virus? the vaccine, the corona. God damn, I can't even remember that. Holy shit. The COVID vaccine. Yes, yes. Can't even remember that. I don't know if they're at. I know I had the vaccine. I don't know if they took that out and started studying it too. I don't know. But I think my antibodies were removed or something that was causing my Crohn's disease because it's really abated. It's really not there. I just have particular constipation. It's my eating. It's not, never mind. It's not more. It's it's nothing you need to worry about. That's weird, personal, but it is awesome. If you have cancer or something, these extraterrestrials can teleport it out of you. They're really nice. So the dimensionalized communication, and we seen aliens traveling 12 galaxies away, or like 5 galaxy spaces away. They can cross. The scientific group of extraterrestrials that are doing this are crossing those vast galactic distances, and they can easily do that for you. So I mean, you might take a starship to these extraterrestrials, and they can operate on you to the trillion scale subpart. We should have an FDL hard mass supercomputer in every hospital, in every starship, in every flying car, like lickety spit. This is the high priority. You got artificial computer structure, space fabric, plastic metal lungs and kidneys to go in you, and a whole bunch of stuff. We got shield emitters you can inject in your skin if you want, or oxygen or blood teleporters or whatever. We can make anything. So it's a multi-trillion, gillion dollar industry business coming up. Futures, functionalist, private, public, starship engineering, whatever you want to call it. But futurist, functionalist. The base real matter is the key to everything. So one day, I was moving hay. It was like last year, driving a tractor, and I looked up, and I seen a freaking cube. All right, this cube was good 30 to 100 feet, and it was going so fast that I'm on a spiner, and I can register to these teleportation forces, and it's recorded. All right, this cube is going so fast. It has its own mechanicalized particle contrails after it. It just booking. It's like it had to be going from my supercomputer calculations 15 times the speed of light in the atmosphere. 15. All right, so you have the cube. It already went through. It's got particle reactions that are mechanicalized, all right? And then the freaking void of this cube, a black box, goes through. Then 15 mechanicalized reactions after that. It is incredible. 15 times the speed of light in the atmosphere, without a sound, without anything. Oh, a key? An alien starship or super system is near you, the clouds starting to get stringy. They're starting to get wispy. If you see it looks like heaven, it may not be an act of God, but it could be an act of extraterrestrials. What they are, they're cool. They're sucking the non-polar matter, and it's predominantly in the termination layer of water. Water is a termination layer for the base raw matter, and it starts. So the vehicles are sucking out the non-polar matter, making the water cooler and less poofy big clouds, less like marshmallows and more like just vapors fog. And you can almost get an inkling or a hindsight before if you start seeing wispy clouds like you see those spikes coming down in the winter, like you have a puffy cloud and it's got a drain under it. That's kind of, but it'll start doing it more pronounced. And this super system, this cube, could be rolling through 15 trillion, not 15 trillion, but 15 times the speed of light. So this supercomputer runs all the databases for all the NASA, CIA, and the DoD, and the government. Well, it does it because the United States government committed treason by planting everybody on Earth with 100% lethal based mind control. And this is the main reason we got to free people with the miniaturized starship. So this is the real starship industry, the real starship industrialist, Robert Sterling Price from Liar City, Missouri. And I'm telling you, because I fucking care. And I believe it will fulfill the word of God in making more people than the stars of the sky and the sands on every shore. It's a freaking starship. It made for 1 or 2 people's 1 week duration in space, but flies 100 trillion times the speed of light. That is the miniaturized starship. Now, once you get that, the governments can be unrestrained. They can go do operations on extraterrestrial facilities and possible derelicts or super systems that are off. We don't know. Governments, scientists, you're in the billions and trillions of dollars range right now. But if we can free people with the miniaturized starship, you can go to another Earth-like world and not have to pay that. You can go do it yourself if you want to. It's that big of a universe. Just can't allow it to come back on planet Earth's people. And you know, no matter where you go in the universe, there is a God that created all, and he's easily found in the word of the Bible, the King James version of the Bible. There's only one God in all of this universe. So, also during that cube event, it automatically correlated the intelligence, and the Navy apparently seen a cube, and it was detected going just 4 times the speed of light. I don't know if it's the same one. I don't know, but it was going from south to north directly over my head, really fast. And I don't know if it's just a sentient machine doing a super scan of this planet Earth. And there are leaks constantly going out from those spy skiffs that are not secure with this rift-based spy gear. So I heard people talking about Tic Tac like UFOs, and like 250 came out of this object. I don't know if it's an extraterrestrial space well around Saturn, or it's a giant mothership somewhere. And they see motherships all the time releasing discs and stuff. They got them on video quite a bit. And so they're coming here, studying people with big ships, and then some are just flying around. And they're videoing ultraviolet balls going around. But the first time when we operated the Rift-based gravity telescope, which I have a whole story, and this is not it, all right? This is not the entire story of that event. We seen teleportation forces coming off of extraterrestrial ships that would go to a star and start doing a circular orbit around that star. They had constant engine power. That just befounded us, and that just made us, hey, they don't do elliptical orbits. Wow, that's cool. They go there. The engine is a densified hard mass reaction. It's sending teleportation forces directly at us, going faster than light, and we're watching it go around in circles around stars. And the stars have when you start ripping apart space travel, and start looking, the stars will have circles going around them, and it's crazy. And that they'll have starships that come into them and start doing full engine burns, making a perfect circle, and some go around it like quite a bit until you get dizzy and sick, apparently, if they didn't have computer structured space fabric. There's an infinity of alien technology, alien civilizations out there, alien empires with armies exceeding trillions. I have to say it again, trillions and trillions. There are more detected extraterrestrial civilizations in space, like a magnitude of 100 billion, than there are people on planet Earth. There's only 8, plus or minus a several billion. Nobody knows. The CIA spies on you all, to the trillionth of the scale of the subatomic particle. And that goes into a file that typically doesn't have a name, and then you have to search for all that information. And so we try to, I better confess, we try to get an exposure, well, I'm trying to get exposure, that you're being spied on to the trillionth scale of the subatomic particle. And basically, it'd be a website with your address. It's called a kill code because they can identify you and kill you in a single trillion second. And then your subatomic level. That if you touch a quarter, touch something tool, and that data is recorded, and you can touch something wet, dry, and this computer can register it. You're being spied on by the U.S. government to the trillion scale subatomic particle. But with internal politics of the United States government and their parameters, they can't use that level of information. They'll never be good enough to do it. But they can target you. They can find you, listen to you, target you, control your bowel movements, alter your brain chemistry, inject digital information in you. They can electrolyze poisons you. I've had this happen. So I complain about it. I cuss them out, this CIA and FBI. So there's a lawyer. Apparently went to the CIA and FBI and told them, told them, the CIA and the FBI, which are just allowing this shit to fucking happen, they are two criminal opposing factions against the subatomic revolution of Robert Stern Price, the guy building the starship for the freedom of mankind. And that's what's killing it all. And so the two criminal opposing factions, two different criminal opposing factions. So the FBI is breaking the law, the CIA is breaking the law. So that's why they can't fuck with me at all. So I can just talk and tell them what the government's doing, and I can tell the goddamn world. They ain't gonna do nothing. Nope. Because they committed treason. And they have no validity. And no one can get anything done in space unless the miniaturized starship is there to free the entire human race. We got to build that first. I messed up my camera. And so you know, I've been on a spy network since I was a little boy, and they have tortured me since I was 5. So it's like 3, 4, 5. The CIA was connected to me, and I cussed out the CIA and it collapsed the Soviet Union. I was the little kid that talked to a spy who called the guys on the Berlin Wall, tell the guards, get off the Berlin Wall, they're going to tear it down. You know, I was a little bitty kid, and I got to hear the conversation I was connected to. I told him to tear down the Berlin Wall. You know, I was so little I didn't understand that he was actively getting me to say something then, and I didn't say anything. But I told him a little bit before that to tear down the Berlin Wall and collapse the Soviet Union. And so after that was accomplished, I was a little kid connected to the spy who called the guys on the Berlin Wall. So and that'll be recorded in these files. There's other, and I forced them to relinquish all former Soviet-held states, and I literally am the person that got the nation of Ukraine and those states made. I'm that person. And I had like 5 minutes to pick out. I picked out Putin to put him in power. I tried to get him removed of power. The KGB did that. They removed him, but they still voted him back in power. And then I told him how I did it. And Putin figured out, oh, I got to get rid of the KGB. Yeah. I'll have to take a starship over there and kick him in the head. If I ever get that going. The governments of the world are still on mind control. They're still defeated. They're dead in a single trillion second. They have no validity. The money is worthless. And we're racing against a whole group of idiots that will not admit the fucking truth. And so I was Robert Stern Price, born May 2nd, 1951. The Russians took the Reichstag on May 2nd. I'm the person that collapsed the Soviet Union. And I am the person that got him to hold the Gorbachev in his house for a little while until he did something. But I was getting information as a little kid. I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't control the creation. So they started another coup to wipe out this Russian Federation. But I couldn't. I was going to try to make Russia into a republic, but I stopped it. It's all controlled by the CIA. Because I started it, then I stopped it. And it's just basically like getting paid Russian generals $1 billion with taxpayer money. They'll do anything for that. And that's basically how it happened. until I what am I going to do with Russia now is that we can't allow a constant adversarial nation like Russia to exist anymore. We're going to take that Russian land and split it up into other countries and allow every single Russian, every single person that wants to immigrate there to do it. We're just going to split this shit up into nations that'll become nations like Europe. And they'll be constantly controlled and constantly Europeanized, or basically just made into other small little countries. Because you cannot have a government this powerful, this evil, and this despicable destroying this many people's lives and more. You gotta start breaking them up, start splitting them up. It's like there's like 200 different ethnic groups in Russia. You might as well just give them their own little country. And that's probably what will happen. That's what I'm trying to make happen. But the miniaturized starship's coming. So those people who don't want to be there can just take off to outer space. It's almost an hour. See if I can keep going. So what's it like? First, the starship industry gets the IPO set up, starts illustrating what it's doing. The main thing you see is the foam metal plant for the bigger starships. Foam metal will go and be sold to the general public. All right, it can be used in buildings, building walls, anything. Instead of having a concrete slab, you got a foam metal sheet that gets trucked in, blocked up, and welded. We can make it kind of light. It's basically, but then we have to start mining material on Mars and the Moon, and so we industrialize the Moon. You got one hard mass drone. It works. Takes 1,000 modules to the Moon, 500 to the Moon, 500 to Mars. 200 and some astronauts winch these modules together and make a outpost. You got 500 building modules to put. The mining starts immediately. We possibly get the South Korean shipyard to start making mining barges, space mining barges, hard mass levitating, hard mass computer structure space, right? Metal, material, teleportation. Well, we will replace their production with this vehicle. They won't be producing oil tankers anymore. Oil is gone. We'll build a starship, all right? And if you need oil, we can either fly it over with a levitating starship that no one's going to shoot at with a missile. Could possibly make computer structure space and stop it. And you just get your big tanker full of oil. You just have a starship come over and pour it in the big tanks and stuff, and you just get that from a company. You're never going to run out of oil, and we have to have vast amounts of metal. So industry is not dying, but it's definitely changing, and the economic deportation of companies. We'll take factories, we'll take entire stores to other Earth-like worlds, and then you take a starship, go out there, and you colonize it, and you can work there, or you can go colonize, farm the land, and bring cows back. We'll have to have space-capable cows, and horses, and dogs, and chickens, and all that stuff. All the food supply. We have to set up the colonies to where they will survive in the future. So what's it like? So you get your miniaturized starship, you get up the door, it DNA scans you, starts all 4 quadruple redundancy flight systems, all 4 park reactors. You go to the seat, put your seatbelt on, in about 5 seconds this thing's ready to go. It'll freaking take off. The hard mass is getting made, put into levitators, levitates the vehicle. You get it possibly 500,000 foot off the ground. The main engines can fire up without killing everybody behind you. And then you go faster and light out the atmosphere. The shield energizes more non-form matter, building the shield. You can put your destination in the quadrant or whatever part of the galaxy. And this thing will start projecting hard mass in front of you, and it'll start defolding into an umbrella-like shape. Your engines go to full power, and everything starts getting solidified and made out, and wham! And then basically, you come into another Earth-like world, and you go to orbit. You go into another solar system. Go to the Earth-like world. Scan it. Base computers detecting the size, atmospheric compositions. Safe to land. It says safe to land. And then you start basically looking for other sentient alien technology in the solar system. And you might do several loops around the solar system, find the Earth-like world, go to it, make sure there's no primitive alien civilization that's going to shoot a missile at you like us. So you go there and you take your window, the big part of your window, and you get as much visual information into your mind as possible, so you don't forget where you're going and all that stuff. And you got maps, but before this, the Subatomic Revolution, or the Starship industry, is going to commission a public system, about 250 galactic orbiting satellites. Right, they're bigger than a tractor trailer. Right, they go hundreds of trillions of times speed light. They take off. They orbit the galaxy, galactic orbiting satellite, and they have vast trillion, gillion, gigabytes, terabytes of hard drive capacity, and they record every single thing in this galaxy, and almost to the square inch on Earth-like worlds and vast planets. They record it. They orbit the galaxy about every 2 minutes, and they come out and they go over not over Australia, but by Australia and into that ocean, and we have vast underwater servers, and this is where the galactic map is stored. And this galactic map that goes online, FDL, hard mass communication, is sent to every single person with a computer. But the military has priority, and that galactic map is the basis for our exploration and pioneering of outer space. First, we get the colonies. We get the things needed for the colonies. People colonize. We industrialize this colonies second. And then we commit to building an ultra-black fleet that will provide Earth colony security, basically. And then possibly after we get colonists, after we get the colonists, probably 2 generations will go by, and then they will be allowed to build a UNSC, United Nations Space Command. It will never come from planet Earth. It will always be an extraterrestrial body of people that will make up the UNSC. And they will probably have what they need. They'll have the reason, the justification to protect their homes and planets and Earth defense, and we'll have. But before this, we'll have ambassadorships going to other civilized stations and other extraterrestrial planets, and we'll be trying to get trade. Capitalism is the only way that we're going to win a universe-wide war. And possibly capitalism should be the real reason, way that we win World War III. If there is World War III, which it should not be with the flying car, capitalism is the only thing that's going to win World War III and a universe-wide war. So that's my personal opinion, and I believe it's absolutely right. So, yeah. So there's a universe-wide war going on, just FYI, for your own information. And there's possibly trillion beings dying every 30 minutes out there, but that's an entire universe being calculated by a supercomputer. But it's still extremely dangerous with supercomputer, AI-controlled artillery, super things like the TED out there. Alien Empire is watching every subatomic movement in the galaxy. Civilization's probably far more powerful and capable than little planet Earth. But what else can I say? I mean, the portal has been calculated. So this is just a disclaimer. So I'm the guy that they spied on to get most of the Portal stuff for SG1 in the Portal series. You know, Stargate. All right. So the Portal originally was going to that I was developing on this network that was being spied on by people in the government in Hollywood, and so you have a Matterhorn. It would spill hard mass into the portal, all right, and that makes the ring around the portal, okay, and then later on, computer structured spacecraft would densify that portal and just make a portal-like mass, not connected to anything. But we can get that far. We cannot connect to a portal network in fucking 1,000 years, okay? It's too damn dangerous. They're too damn advanced. And the portal was only calculated to go about 2.2 galaxies away. This flying car can run 100 trillion times the speed of light and take you to any freaking galaxy. It's just more practical and more capable than a portal. Portal might be good enough to later on, after we get some security and insurance is of security, that it might be made good enough. We'll hold that to the very last damn thing we'll do. All right, what about the Naquita generator? Basically, the discovery of the base world matter was around this time, and it's non-particle matter, and it basically just flows like water into a reactor, and it super accelerates that reactor, and you got a Naquita, like a water poured into something. It just flows the base world matter in this reactor. They called it a Naquita generator. What about a ZEPM? All right. So this is more or less from. This is different. So I was going to build like a particle collider. Right. Take two particles, and you smack them together and get it to power some particle reactor. And a zip EPM. It zipped around and crashed these particles with non-particle matter, all right, and it would have a computer-controlled explosion, and that would make a zip reactor, all right. The particles zipping around, and it became the ZAPM. Is different. And what about a crystal? Crystal is basically the base world matter flowing through the rock, flowing through the material, that is destroying the rock, destroying the subatomic particles and atoms, all right? And it's taking that new material. Some particles will come in through the rock and start to gain mass and make new elements in that rock, and that's basically the ZEPM. Somehow it got mixed in with a particle reactor and a reactor, and it's basically a crystal. So I'm the person who's being spied on that got SG1 and that. I got to make Stargate Atlantis and Stargate Universe. I love all of that. They are awesome. They did a great job. I love Stargate. They did a really good job of pushing human intellectual thoughts, ideas, and human capabilities. Allowing people to dream is one of the most important things in the world. To have a big, big dream. If you want a particle reactor, we'll get that done shortly once the spinning starts. Particle reactor portal. You want a small portal? We have dimensionalized communications that will be going up and being codified in the near century after we get the miniaturized starship made, so we stay safe. But then we can take the portal that will stand alone, stay stable, densified hard mass, and we'll start devoiding that space fabric. And maybe a drone carrying supplies will go to another solar system at hyper, like speed, hyper than faster than light. It's like 1.75 trillion times the speed of light. Just instant drone from planet Earth. Go for this portal. 1.7 times trillion, another times light speed. Bang. That drone could take it. It's just got freaking noodles in it. Who cares? Hot meals from Sonic or McDonald's. Wendy's. Wendy's gives a third of their proceeds to charities sometimes, I think. They had it on the wall. I have no idea. But they're still good. Well, oh yeah, they got admirals in my ear saying, "Man, what if they need ammo?" Well, if they need ammo on other Earth-like worlds, We'll probably send a hard mass super drone. That'll rip the space fabric, a dimensionalized drone that'll rip the space fabric and have hard mass and put it into maybe 100 trillion times the speed of light capability. I mean, if you got a space base and you don't need people to run it, that if from point A to point B, it might be a polarized connection. It's a little slower, a lot slower, but it's trillions times speed of light. But if you need immediate amplification, like a lot of ammo, we'll just send it through freaking starships to run faster. We're not right now. Once you avoid the space fabric, the starship is able to run a little bit cleaner and more efficiently. That might be a big deal right now in the future, but we can't do that. It's better off to get the vehicle that we all need first, and then go into dimensionalizing space with the portal. You're not dimensionalizing space. You're basically devoiding the base raw matter and space matter, so it becomes more efficient. So the base raw matter is highly transparent, structured in a non-form manner. So you're sending forces trillions times the speed of light to that mass, making a hole through it, then shooting something through that. That's still, it just makes a minor efficiency. And you might as well build the starship what you need, get the exponential engine horsepower, and send that ship through there. Just it'll do it automatically. The engine power alone will rip apart that space rack almost completely with that shield. Okay, you don't really need the portal. You don't. You need this starship first. You need to be able to put boots on the ground first, and then once, like, there's a starbase. So Ultra Black Fleet, after the colonization, 80 years goes by, I will be fucking dead. Hopefully. Maybe not if I can stay alive. I don't know. The starship bases get made. And that's basically means a 50 or 80 foot solid slab of metal or earth that has been solidified by particle reactors. Then under that, the base. Then you have on top of that slab giant capital ships. And military is doing stuff like that. And what they're only there to keep humanity from being exterminated in a vast, vast universe. That's the only reason why they exist. And preparing the space lanes or stopping piracy, whatever, doing all the other basic stuff, but just keeping humanity from being right out, annihilated, or kicked in the ass when they bend over to pick something up. So basically, you build the Christian Seed people, and they have this capability for eternity, and they create the Christian Seed people and fulfill the Word of God. Then Jesus Christ comes back and builds His kingdom, and it's these people that'll witness that and be part of that until, well, the dead will rise first. So I gotta stop. I can go on forever. And it is awesome. We're this close. So don't commit suicide. Don't commit murder. There's a lot of that evil out there in the universe. You're this close to being a trillionaire. You're this close. Really, really fucking close. We'll have contractors, construction workers build big 2 foot thick slabs of concrete for a warehouse, a building, tire all these, Walmart, and we'll put that in a freaking starship. We'll pull that up, levitate that up, put that in the bay of a starship, and any Earth-like world that you can reach, there will eventually be a capitalist Walmart, box store, Dollar General, cares. They're built easy, or we can ship them out. They can build them easy on Earth, and you'll have freaking construction jobs, because everybody on Earth is going to have the same access to all the goods that you have as an American. I mean, we'll be kicking out government from the economy, and all this tariff shit just goes away, man. The whole world, the entire world can deliver goods to itself more efficiently with the starship, but it can deliver them to other Earth-like worlds, to all the people of planet Earth. Alright, I gotta go. I'm Robert Stern Price, and I'm building the future's functionalist private starship industry. Thank you. And and support your own use of the Minshai Starship.